I've been thinking about doing a piece on Baby Driver since I saw it in the theater. I'm pretty careful about giving films a chance to breathe in my headspace before I really form a what this means to me type take on a film. As a technical achievement, it marveled. Easily the focus of a lot of wildly superlative praise of this film was how the sheer audacity of it on a technical level was reason enough to watch it, and yes, that's 100% true. But it didn't click with me at first. After a while, I decided to watch it with a friend, and it was like, oopsie doodles. I get it now. So in January, I watched it with this friend who had never seen it, and that's when I ultimately came to terms with what Baby Driver meant to me. An important fact I did not know going into this viewing, my friend has tinnitus. She goes about her days by drowning out the ever-present hum of her disability by listening to music constantly. I'd seen her do that often, but never knew or felt the need to ask the reason. I'd never had the experience of seeing a movie for the first time after I'd already seen it 10 times, but that happened to me that night watching it with my friend Katrina. We shared an earnestly profound moment together. Movies mean different things to different people. That's always true. To me now, Baby Driver is a movie about disability, some born of trauma. A superhero who can use music to perform superheroic acts who also has a disabled father figure who operates as his heart and conscience. Underneath the pastiche of old American musical idealism, and also below the levels of, oh my god, I can't believe human beings made a staggering work of pop art with this level of precision, is a story about disability, born from trauma, being turned into one's greatest asset. Oopsie doodles. Here's a relevant example. The movie about the necessity of some people to wear headphones as often as possible is better with headphones on. Lose an earbud, lose the music in that ear, but more importantly, the ringing never stops. You notice it a lot more with headphones on because you will have the following thought. Oh god, put the music back on. A movie illustrating disability through the act of experiencing it. Sound design as story. There's a fantastic article from Allison Wilde on disability arts online, linked in the doobles, that you should absolutely read. It says a lot about why this movie might mean something different to disabled people. As Allison pointed out, Baby Driver doesn't just confront issues of ableism, it drives a f***ing car right through them. Okay, up front, I know that the character of Doc is played by Darkwing Duck. His presence is understandably upsetting to many people, and every person is going to have to make their own decision about the terror that flaps in the night. Mr. Duck's presence is regrettable, but doesn't personally affect my viewing experience enough to make me not adore this film and want to tell you about it. Mileage will vary. Don't be mean to people that don't want to watch it for that very understandable reason. That's why I censored their name and presence with a mid-90s cartoon character. Okay, let's talk about let me just check my notes here. 14,711 times less qualified to talk about movie musicals than Lindsay Ellis. And luckily for me, I'm making some super specific points, so it's probably okay to fumble my way Frankenstein's monsterishly through a movie musical refresher before telling you that everything I have just said doesn't mean anything. Okay? Okay. In 1927, the first film musical and simultaneously the first talkie Al Jolson's moving on. Anyway, you could also make a case for Don Juan in 1926 as it was the first film with a synchronized score but no dialogue or singing. I don't need to fill you in on movie musicals, the purest mix of Hollywood glamour and stage show adaptations, and also those Disney decades, which will end badly for this topic in 12 seconds. Come with me on a journey of haphazard cherry-picking Wizard of Oz, Bugsy Malone, Newsies, Hedwig and the Angry Inch, Xanadu, Popeye, Beauty and the Beast. 2017. Technically the highest grossing movie musical of all time with the box office 266.66% of the current second highest grossing movie musical of all time, Grease. Okay, this is the part where I tell you that none of this means anything. Anyway, put a pen in the movie musical thing for a second and pull up a carpet square because this is the part where we have to talk about diegetic sound versus non-diegetic. I'll keep it simple. Diegetic generally has a source on screen, i.e. footsteps, dialogue, people playing instruments, and the characters in the film are generally aware of those sounds as part of the world. Whiplash is a great example of diegetic sound because it's literally a movie about people playing instruments on screen. And drumming mighty fine there, Miles. Non-diegetic is the stuff that people on screen don't hear as part of the story. The swelling chords in a score that understandably we don't see them visibly here. If non-diegetic sound didn't exist, no character in a Christopher Nolan movie would ever accomplish anything because the nigh infinite drone of Hans Zimmer playing atonal bass womps that somehow simultaneously sound dope as shit would drive you into a madness truly worthy of Sam Neill. I'm glad I could explain this concept with non-clarity. This is not the best descriptor, but more gooder people than me have talked about this already. Now, obviously, movie musicals drive a cement truck through the lines between diegetic and non-diegetic because it can apply to multiple characters differently, in whatever way the narrative needs to focus the audience attention. Example, in Greased Lightning, the background characters both pay and don't pay attention to the kids singing about creating damaging codependencies. That can't be right, is that right? Either way, the teens are singing and dancing to the same song that they all know the words to, but not everyone in the scene seems to be aware of the same thing because the characters don't need to. At this point, everything is a gradient, so what do you want? Just enjoy the movie, it doesn't matter. Baby Driver is from Baby's perspective, so that's also how he sees the world. We see through Baby's eyes in every way. We see through Baby's eyes through the lens of someone who grew up next to music and then lost it. Baby Driver 100% operates under the rules of a movie musical, even if some of us do and some of us don't want to make that classification and call it an actual musical because pedantry is fun and gets so many views, y'all. I'm with you either way, also it doesn't matter. The music in Baby Driver generally has a diegetic origin, i.e. Baby's mad amounts of bedazzled iPods. Even when Baby is the only one listening to music, everyone else in the world follows the beat of that music anyway, despite its single point of diegesis, i.e. Baby. The film also operates in a very 1950s movie musical mindset. People in this film will fall in love at first sight and retire into the 1950s happily ever after. It's a little hard to nail down exactly where any of this takes place because it's all kind of a anachronism sandwich. You accept this movie on its own stakes or you don't. The love at first sight thing is symbolized over the scenes too, and we see this early in the movie. The graffiti heart is black when Baby goes in for coffee. He gets one look at Deborah and suddenly off screen the graffiti heart has change colors to something you do notice. They hit it off, to put it lightly.
And I thought, how can I do this so that it goes beyond just score, that this character is actually choosing the music? We edited on set a lot of the time because that could really keep everything in check in terms of is it fitting the music.
I think you're right, Roberta. That's the tough one to Joe.
The way that the music syncs up with the action and the way that the whole thing becomes, in many ways, kind of a musical.
There's a lot going on, but they all knew what movie they were making. When Baby begins to doubt his position in all of this, aka the moment he realizes he's one of the bad guys and doesn't deserve the big 1950s happy ending, he starts to reckon with how he can atone for all of his crimes that he definitely committed. So in the end, to deserve his happy ending, he takes ownership over his actions, however noble their origins might have been. He stole a criminal's car and got forced into crime. One understandable mistake was manipulated into many regrettable ones. And instead of continuing the longest chase since Children of Men, he turns himself in. His happy ending is to stop running and take ownership of everything. His crimes, what happened to his mother, and even his real name. There's a weakness in Miles that I felt very close to. He lets people walk all over him, and he doesn't miss a beat, is professional, and takes shit from criminals who use ableist language against him constantly, which he then goes home and makes art out of. Like, Miles is an incredible driver and acrobat and dancer and outrageously hunky boy in that jacket, are you kidding? But he's also a dude that is so used to getting railed on because he came from something less and something different. He's different. And I wish the Darkwing Duck hadn't played the evil crime dad part here, where this ember-hearted crime sneeze went ahead and manipulated this lost broken child into an image of exactly what it needed for maximum crime. He's openly hostile, devoid of empathy, and cruel. He has no feeling whatsoever this entire movie, and he takes one look at this pure-ass stage musical love that burns with the fury of a white dwarf, and he's like, oops, you know what? Damn, I am gonna die for you because I believe in this union so much. Baby, you aight. And then he's like, my name's Miles. Okay, he doesn't say that. And I know this metaphor is probably really obvious, but I think it's a thing of beauty. Baby doesn't take responsibility for himself. He a baby. We learn that someone else now knows his name is Miles, and suddenly he's like, well, shit, gotta face the music then, I guess. And he was like that after this dude took what was left of his hearing. Miles cares about people and listens to what they have to say. He compartmentalizes his life and tries to make a real effort at going straight. But Drake Mallard Crime Dad made that exceptionally difficult. And that baby became a Miles. Perspective is a hell of a thing. I think it's wrong to expect any one person to be an expert in every single topic right off the dome. We're all stupid. Sorta. There, I movies with Mikey did. And that's okay, we all have blind spots, and apparently mine was a movie that had so many bells and whistles, I missed what was right in front of me. And please bear in mind, I kinda drank my own Kool-Aid and kinda thought that was my superpower, so now my superpower is hubris. And considering the changes in my own ability over the past 7 years, it's about time I spoke up more loudly and more diligently about movies like this.
Feel and take the ride that everybody's on instead of it being a computer-generated piece.
I know a few people that this movie spoke to very personally. It's good to remember, it's always a good idea to ask someone, what did this movie mean to you? Because you will gain more perspective on art. What are we saying about ourselves? The hum is always there, or is it? You really only notice it when the music isn't there. It takes on different characteristics too, as tinnitus is essentially damage to your hearing functionality where the brain interprets noise to fill in the blanks. White noise that's always different is a lot harder to ignore, and people that suffer from it will drone it out with music because that's just easier to function. I never had a movie make me experience someone else's shoes so viscerally before. Sucks to be Edgar though, because now my bar for his films is somewhere give or take 1,000,000 miles from the actual sun. It all works. Not one shot fails to match the energy and the beat of the film. The music responds to what has come before it. Yeah, you could watch this movie 500 times and it's gonna reward you for looking deeper. Did you know roughly 360 million people worldwide suffer from tinnitus? It's not a small thing. 1 in 5 teens, 1 in 5 adults, 3 in 5 armed service members. Did you notice how in the store the iPod starts remixing in real time with the music playing over the loudspeaker in the apparel store? Or at the end when one of baby's iPods gets shot and he literally feels his own pulse so that he can keep the beat and keep going. That's dedication. In practice, it's a movie about fixing all the mistakes you made, even when the deck is stacked against you in the first place. Like I said, it's a movie about living with disability while hopefully teaching you something about it. That's why they call me Baby Driver.
They call me Baby Driver.
Hey, these are all my cool patrons. Hello, cool patrons. Like David McIntyre, Brosephine, and City of Startup Glad. the phrase that trips me off here. Oh, Ken Burns has joined us. Hello, Ken. Love your films. You should check out our Patreon, patreon.com/movies and Mikey. It supports the whole Filmjoy oeuvre. Like Deep Dive, we just did an episode on Twilight, Jay Wants a Cat's favorite film. I know that on very good authority. Character select. Suddenly I'm imagining all of my patrons as a character select sheet, and that gives me good vibes. Like, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Details in the description. I like that you use the maximum number of letters allowed for a patron. What was I talking about? Oh, go watch Twilight Deep Dive. And you will feel very good. Just like Victor, just like Doom Chin feels all the time in Sazzle and Stacking Keys and Non-Flammable Flamethrower. I have the best patron names. Lessons Animation Taught Us. Definitely still accepting new pieces. Don't forget that email, latu@filmjoy.tv. Please send us stuff and let's grow this whole thing out. I also have a Twitter. Twitter was a mistake. Follow me or don't follow me. I really don't have opinions on it. Dr. Chike, Julian Rodriguez, Tim Shannon, Bednar, Drave the Moon Rascal. That wily little moon rascal. Oh, here's a fun thing. The next deep dive, we already filmed this. It'll be the next one live. We announced it at the end of the episode. Oh, no, we didn't. Oh, no, I can't tell you what it was. Or can I? I don't even know. Douglas Duce. It's Godzilla. I'm sorry, it's spoiled. We watched 1998's Godzilla. This episode was really personal to me. Woke vampires versus swearwolves. That derails my train of thought somewhat. This episode was very personal to me, and it took me a long time to figure out what I wanted to say about Baby Driver, even though people have been asking me for basically the length of time that it's been out. I wanted to talk about something real and an actual disability that affects a lot of people, 350 million to be exact. So that's what's up. Just like Cyclops Boy and Jacob Koziel, and as always, Map. See you next time, everybody.